It's a story about wealth, power, and the privileges that protect them. It's a story that crosses borders, courtrooms, and palaces. And a story that begins as friendship that soon unraveled into one of the darkest chapters in royal history. It's a story that begins with luxury and royal connections and ends with utter disgrace, legal settlements, and unanswered questions that still haunt the world's most famous family of the United Kingdom. This is episode 24, The Epstein Connection. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Passport to Crime podcast. I'm your host Oakley, and today we're flying into the United Kingdom, a place that is known for its rich history, from the Roman era and medieval monarchies to the Industrial Revolution and its former global empire. Today it balances tradition with modern multiculturalism and remains a major player in international affairs. But before we begin today's case, as always, a quick disclaimer. This episode contains discussion of sexual abuse, trafficking, and legal allegations involving minors. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Our story begins in the late 1990s. It's a world of flashing cameras, designer galas, and the final years of the pre-digital royal era. Bill Clinton is in the White House and the Spice Girls are topping the charts, and across the Atlantic, the British royal family is still recovering from the tragic death of Princess Diana in 1997. The monarchy's image is fragile, yet determined to move forward. Prince Andrew, the Queen's second son, has returned from military life and re-entered the spotlight. Charismatic, confident, and sometimes careless, he moves through international circles with ease. It's around this time that he meets a woman named Ghislaine Maxwell, the daughter of media tycoon Robert Maxwell. Through her, he's introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, an American financier whose wealth, charm, and connections make him a magnet for the elite. Epstein's parties draw scientists, politicians, celebrities, and of course, now royalty. For a while, the friendship seems harmless. An unremarkable social link between the powerful and the privileged. Now let's fast forward to 2005. The world economy has changed. The iPod is everywhere, YouTube is new, and the global economy is booming. But in Palm Beach, Florida, a very different story is unfolding. Local police begin receiving numerous reports from young girls, some barely even teenagers, describing encounters with Jeffrey Epstein at his mansion. The stories are eerily similar. Promises of money for massages that turned into abuse. Detectives gather witness statements, flight logs, and physical evidence. They prepare what seems to be an airtight case, one that could expose a vast criminal network. But when the case reaches federal prosecutors, the momentum suddenly slows. Meetings are held behind closed doors, emails vanish out of thin air, and then the investigation becomes quietly rushed. In 2008, Epstein receives a plea deal, one so lenient it would be called later the sweetheart deal of the century. He pleads guilty to 2 minor prostitution-related charges, serves just over a year in a county jail, and spends most days outside on work release. It's not just lenient, it's secret. Buried within that deal is a non-prosecution agreement protecting Epstein's potential co-conspirators, powerful people whose names remain redacted to this day. The victims were told. The media barely noticed. Justice had been delayed and disguised. Now it's 2010. The world is still reeling from the global financial crisis. Social media is exploding. The royal family, meanwhile, is preparing for a new era. Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding is just around the corner, and the public's faith in the monarchy seems to be rebounding. But then a photograph emerges. In Central Park, Prince Andrew is seen walking side by side with Jeffrey Epstein, 2 years after Epstein's conviction. The photo spreads like wildfire. Why, people ask, would a senior royal associate with a convicted sex offender? Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he's now known, later claims he met Epstein in New York to end the friendship in person. But for most, that explanation doesn't hold up. The image becomes iconic, a symbol of entitlement and poor judgment. Behind palace doors, there's panic. Publicly, there's complete and utter outrage. Then in 2015, Virginia Giuffre steps forward. She flies a lawsuit alleging that Epstein and Maxwell trafficked her, and that she was forced to have sexual encounters with Prince Andrew when she was just 17 years old. She claims one meeting took place at Maxwell's London home the same night. A now famous photograph shows Andrew with his arm around her waist standing behind them at Ghislaine Maxwell, smiling. Prince Andrew denies everything. He insists he has no memory of ever meeting her. But to the public, the photo tells a very different story that words cannot change or undo. By 2019, the scandal explodes again. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested on new federal charges, this time for sex trafficking minors across state lines. His connections come under renewed scrutiny, including Prince Andrew's. Then in August that year, Epstein is found dead in his jail cell, officially ruled as a suicide. But the timing, the circumstances, and the surveillance failures all fuel suspicion and outrage. The story dominates headlines across the world. The powerful are suddenly exposed, and Prince Andrew has become the royal face of denial. Later that year, Andrew agrees to a televised interview with the BBC's Newsnight, hoping to clear his name. What followed was one of the most disastrous interviews in royal history. He claimed he couldn't have been sweating on the night in question because of a medical condition. He said he was at Pizza Express in Woking instead. The public reaction was brutal. Within days, Andrew was stripped of royal duties, charities and sponsors severed ties. His reputation and the monarchy's was in ruins. By 2022, the case to a quiet end. Andrew reaches an out-of-court settlement with Virginia Giuffre for an undisclosed sum believed to be several $1 million. The statement is careful, no admission of guilt but no denial of the pain caused. Either Epstein is gone, Maxwell is convicted, and Andrew, once the Queen's favourite blue-eyed boy, is now in royal exile. He's stripped of his military honours, no longer addressed as His Royal Highness or the Duke of York, and absent from major royal ceremonies. Looking back, the timeline tells a story not just of a man's downfall, but of a system built to protect the powerful. In 2008, rushed plea deals showed how justice bends for the wealthy. The 2010 photo showed how easily power shields itself from shame, and the 2019 revelation showed that even privilege has its limits. Yet questions remain. How many others were protected? How deep did the cover-up go? And how far did the influence of wealth and royal connections stretch? The answers, like Epstein's empire, are buried in secrecy. And now, Prince Andrew, known as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, has been stripped of all titles legally and been asked to move out of the royal residence. This has been the Passport to Crime podcast. I'm your host Oakley, and this was episode 24, The Epstein Connection. A story of power without accountability, privilege without consequence, and a justice system that still struggles to hold the mighty to the same standards as everyone else. Join me next time as we travel across borders once again to uncover another case where money, power, and crime collide. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and if you haven't already, please check out our Instagram at the Passport to Crime podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye for now.